another edition of our Memory Lane podcast here on the DK Pittsburgh Sports Podcasting Network. Can you imagine how cool it would be to grow up in a professional city, get picked by the professional team in that city, and then get to go on and have a great career for that franchise? Our guest today got to enjoy just that. Ryan Bugsy Malone, Pittsburgh native, played for the Penguins. Ryan, really appreciate you taking some time to join us. What a fascinating ride all of that must have been, man.
Yeah, it's crazy looking back. You know, I think once you get older, you look back at how your life kind of has started and grew up and reflect on some choices you made. And it was definitely a privilege and a blessing to kind of grow up as a rink rat in the igloo there and meet some amazing people and ultimately just fall in love with the game and have this crazy career that you never thought was possible.
So you do grow up in Pittsburgh, and I did ask you right before we came on. I didn't want to just assume you were a Penguins fan, but you were a Penguins fan. What was your Penguins fandom like growing up?
Honestly, I remember pretty much right when I was born. I think my dad was playing for the Penguins there and bringing me down to their rink as a young kid in my diapers to actually when I made the team. It was Steve Lattin was the trainer there for many years in Pittsburgh, and he was sharpening my skates and giving me sticks when I was a little kid. And then to actually make the team in '03 there and be part of the Penguin pride, quote on that sweater, was ultimately a dream that I never thought was even possible coming true. So it was just very crazy and bizarre, I felt, how it worked out. But I always believed everything happened for a reason, and it was nothing but an honor and privilege to pull on that sweater in Pittsburgh.
What was your childhood like as a hockey player growing up, hockey family in Pittsburgh? Just explain what it's like to be 8-year-old Ryan Malone, 12-year-old, 14-year-old.
Yeah, I think, growing up there and playing hockey, I think my first hockey team, I was 9 years old. And I remember I would always skate and, play street hockey, knee hockey. And then it was just kind of time to be on a team around 9. I remember going to tryouts and I never learned to stop yet. And that was part of obviously the requirements, but that was kind of my start in hockey. And, I think the journey, my dad, I think knowing how hard it was to get to the NHL, he never pressured myself or brother to force us to do anything or, go shoot pucks or go do this. He always just wanted to make sure we were having fun. And ultimately, I just fell in love with the game. And growing up there in Pittsburgh, I mean, there literally was 3 rinks around town, long ago. And no one really went to college or even Division III hockey. You never heard much. There's a few of my friends went to Junior B, Culver Military School. Those are the things I heard of guys leaving. So to have Robert Morris around now and a Division I college that's been successful, I think it's great for the local kids. It shows how much hockey has grown in the city and how it's become a hockey town. So I got to see the unique perspective kind of behind the scenes of what a hockey rink and hockey team can do for a city. And it was very, it was once again a privilege and blessing to see it from that side of the rink.
Your dad, Greg, played in the NHL for 11 years, 76 to 87. You were born in 1979, so you were just a toddler growing up around it. But then your dad went off his last year with the Penguins, 82, 83. Then when he goes to plays for Hartford and then Quebec. So he's away for what was that like as a young kid? Your dad's playing hockey and you're following the sport and everything, but he's off sometimes, playing in his career in other places. Just what was that experience like?
Yeah, I mean, it was a lot of work for my mom, obviously, where they're divorced. So she was the one getting up at 5 a.m. to get to the rinks and everything. And I think knowing my dad would go see him in Hartford and Quebec, I remember those trips as a kid, being around the locker room with Ron Francis and Kevin Dineen. A quick story, I remember those guys and my brother were playing hide and go seek in the Hartford Whalers locker room. and they ended up stuffing my brother like in the dirty laundry. So Ron Francis became my favorite player. It was great. You got to kind of see the inside, behind the scenes of the locker room. And even in Pittsburgh there, my dad, after he was done playing, was the head scout. So you got to, draft Giger all the way up to Fleury, Crosby, and Malkin. And we were always kind of around the rink there. My dad's office was next to Craig Patrick's office. So being in the locker room, I think, and seeing the guys pull pranks on each other and having fun and all that extracurricular stuff that goes on, I think is really what made me fall in love with the game and understand it is just a game, and we're very lucky and privileged to be able to play that.
Crazy aside here, Penguins have a cool logo. I always like the Milwaukee Brewers logo. It's an M and a B with a baseball glove. Is there any better logo than the Hartford Whalers, Ryan? You ever? I mean, I just pulled up a picture of it here. We haven't seen it in a long time. The Whale's been gone for a long time. But how good is that logo, man?
It was good. I remember even the Brass Bonanza song, playing knee hockey with my brother, and we put on the Brass Bonanza song and come out to their little knee hockey rink or whatever. I thought was always pretty cool. And another, I guess, crazy ending to my career, I ended up in Hartford, Connecticut with the Rangers minor league team. And I'm sitting on the bench and Brass Bonanza comes on. I'm like, holy shit. I just went kind of full circle. It felt like, so it was pretty cool. And being part of the hockey community as a child and getting to know all these amazing people, it's the hockey community is a special place, and I was proud to be part of it.
Okay, now here's something interesting though. You're the son of an NHL player. You go to Upper St. Clair High School. You're there. Was there pressure on you? Did you feel that, notice it, recognize it, or was it even a factor as you're 15, 16 years old trying to make a name for yourself in the sport?
Yeah, no, there's definitely no pressure. Right around that 15, mark, I definitely, my dad kind of mentioned if I wanted to play baseball or hockey more seriously and, maybe try to get a college scholarship, I should, put in some work in the summers. So I decided to actually go to Minnesota hockey camps, a camp run by Chuck Rillo and Herbie Brooks. And that really is what helped me get to the next level, developing my character. So it's there was never any pressure to make the NHL or anything. It was more my dad was just kind of like, hey, if this is what you want to do, this is kind of the steps you need to take. And I don't think I never, even when I got drafted by the Penguins, some of my friends, you're a daddy's pick or whatnot. But so I kind of use that as fuel to, prove people wrong. But ultimately, having that experience, I think with my dad and he always would say, there's first round draft picks that don't make it in the NHL. So I never thought I would actually ever play there until some of my teammates in college. When I was at St. Cloud State, I got to see Mark Hardigan, Doobie Westcott, Tyler Arnson. Some of my teammates, would sign a contract and go play and watch them on TV. I was like, geez, my buddies are playing in the league, then maybe I have a chance as well. So that's when actually it kind of hit me when I was already at college. I would have a chance possibly to play in the NHL, but I knew there was still a lot of hard work to keep going, and I was very fortunate enough to come into camp and have a good camp in Pittsburgh and make that team the first year.
And if I'm not mistaken, your dad was the head scout for the Penguins during the period when you were drafted in '99. Do I have that correct?
Yes, and he tells me him and the scouting staff, when they're ranking players, he would just step out of the room and let the guys, rank me where they kind of thought.
Okay.
So Herbie was a good friend of ours, and kind of really, I got to lean on him a lot through St. Cloud when I was there, and he's the one that ended up drafting me for the Penguins there. So it was a pretty cool experience for myself, going down to the table and shaking hands with all these guys that I was always very familiar with and kind of grew up around. So it was honestly a dream come true, a dream that I never thought was possible. So it was just amazing.
This was June of '99 when you were drafted. Did you know? Was your dad able to let you know a few minutes beforehand, or was your draft experience just like anybody else's, that the pick comes and you get the call and, oh my goodness, it's a surprise even to you and your dad?
Yeah, I think it was. I think you're sitting there and they're obviously busy doing all the work, so I don't think you had time to worry about myself. But yeah, you sit up in the stands, you kind of just wait your turn and see where you might fall. I thought maybe I'd go to San Jose, which had the pick in front of me, and the Grillos kind of ran that hockey camp in Minnesota, so I thought maybe I'd land there. If not, but obviously, ultimately the dream was to put on the black and gold sweater, and I was able to do that.
Okay, so it was obviously a dream come true, and at the time you're a young guy and you've got your whole career ahead of you. Now that you're not an old guy, but you're retired and you're on this end of your career, and you look back on being a Pittsburgh guy, getting drafted and playing for the Penguins, how do you view the stars aligning and fate aligning with all of that now?
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. I think I've always believed everything happens for a reason, and I think as a young kid, you have that dream, and you kind of have the blinders on if you're in a horse race, and your goal is to make it to the NHL, and you're willing to do whatever you can to do that. So you make the sacrifices in the summer, and the discipline of putting in that time in the gym and all those things. And ultimately, I never really had a backup plan. I think my backup plan actually was to maybe go to Las Vegas and be a card dealer, because I made good money hourly when I was without tips. So otherwise, hockey is an amazing sport, and you can travel the world and go play hockey in these amazing rinks over in Europe and see the world and bring your family. So ultimately, if you have that passion and love for it, you can still make a great life of it, even if you don't make it to the NHL. But ultimately, hockey was, that passion and love for me. And to this day, I'm just very thankful, and looking back at all the tremendous people that helped me, achieve that goal along the way. And now it's really about giving back to the game that has given me so much. So it's been, it was a great ride, and this is just one chapter. Now we got that, the second half of your life to kind of give back to the game that's given you so much. So we're excited to do that.
You make your NHL debut with the Pens in 03-04 season. Then the following season, there's the lockout. What's going on in your mind at that time as a very young player? With everything was going on with hockey, you're trying to establish yourself. Now you got to miss a season here. Just what was that period like?
Well, you learn very quick it's a business, and they don't care about your feelings. and I mean, they shut us down the whole year. They knew the fans would come back. They got the cap system they wanted. And the players, I feel, of all the athletes, hockey players are very humble. Even till this day, you see guys taking all these, I want to say, pay cuts to be on, a great team. You see in Colorado with those guys. And, you have NBA players, making over $11 million sitting on the bench. We have Connor McDavid just about making that. So, I mean, I think ultimately the players always sacrifice for the grade of the game, because that's what they love. And they're not, I would say, selfish in that regard of, all about the money. They think, obviously millions of dollars is good. But it is, I guess it's tough to put into words. I kind of lost my train of thought here, but I lost what I was actually talking about.
Let me ask you this. I have covered the Altoona Curve baseball team, Ryan, for 25 years. During the season of the lockout, Paul Steigerwald came over and was the play-by-play broadcaster for the baseball team in Altoona for that season. One of the great memories I have is the moment the Penguins won the lottery to get to pick Sidney Crosby. I was in the clubhouse of the baseball team. Steige was there, just going nuts. everybody knew what was at stake with the lottery with Sid and everything like that. And I just remember Paul Steigerwald just absolutely losing it, jumping up and down, huge smile. I don't know if he cried or not. But where were you in the world? Because I see you were playing Finland and Italy and all. What do you recall? Do you recall following that when the Pens won the lottery and you knew you'd be getting Sidney Crosby? Just what the potential of that could have meant.
Yeah, I was on a golf course and somebody came kind of running towards me to let us know that we're getting Crosby. So I thought that was obviously a pretty special moment in Pittsburgh, and that's right when Mario was coming back for those last few years. And I think on paper that year we really built up, obviously trying to go for the Stanley Cup. We built up a great team on paper. And obviously things didn't work out as planned, but it was pretty special to kind of play with all those elite players those first few years when Sid was there, and get to experience, Sid, how he that character he has, and till this day it hasn't wavered, and it makes sense why he's one of the greatest players to lace him up.
And you guys had great success. You go on, you play in the Stanley Cup Finals in 07, 08. A lot of great career memories and experiences for you, I'm sure. What do you remember specifically about getting to the Cup Finals?
I had flashbacks just when I was a kid. I think, 13, 14, being in the stands with my brother in the 91, 92 Cups with the Jaws posters and the Hay signs and just having so much fun. So to actually put on the sweater and have a chance to bring the Stanley Cup to the city I grew up in was something that, once again, is something you can only dream about and to be part of. And it was, even though I ended up losing, that was definitely the most fun I had playing hockey by far. When you're battling for the Stanley Cup is just what it's all about, and I loved every second of it.
You left following that season and went on to Tampa and had a really good career there. But as fate would have it, the Penguins won the Cup the first year you were gone. How do you look back on that? Do you kind of shake your head and chuckle, or do you get mad and angry? You want to throw something that you missed it by a year, or what?
No, I know. I think ultimately I was leaving. I ended up getting traded with Roberts to Tampa. They traded our rights because ultimately I think they thought they were going to sign Hossa on a nice deal. And then he jumped ship for a year to Detroit, I think, which caught everyone by surprise. Everything happens for a reason, and ultimately you would like to stick around and win a championship, but you never know how things might work out. So I think it all worked out for a reason, and it was still great to see the Penguins bring the cup to the city and the fans that deserve it. So I thought I was still cheering for them, and it is what it is.
Member of the 2010 U.S. Olympic hockey team, had a great run in Vancouver. You end up losing to Canada in overtime. What was as you look back on your career, of all the highlights and everything, what would stand out the most? Getting to the Cup Finals, being a member of the Olympic hockey team, and I do want to ask you about that as well. But what stands out the most as your favorite memory?
Yeah, the Olympics were unbelievable. I mean, that's another dream come true. I never thought would happen, and then have it in Canada on, it just coming so close. I remember before Sid scored two, Pavelski had a great opportunity in the slot, and Luongo made a great shoulder save. And then, of course, it's Sid that buries it, so you can't feel too bad.
Yeah.
But, just having that, I think, relationship with Herbie growing up as a kid, and then, making the Olympic team, something I never thought I was able to do. I really thought it was kind of almost meant to be for us to win that game. But, it is what it is, and you move on. But I think that atmosphere and playing at that high level with all those great players was just really fun to be a part of. And I was lucky and thankful for the opportunity to represent our country.
What a great showing by that U.S. team. I mean, just sensational. I did not know this, or I could not find. Were you on the ice when the winning goal scored or not?
No. We went in overtime in the Olympics. They went 4-on-4, so I wasn't getting too many shifts out there. We had a bunch of great players, but. Yeah, it was. We ended up beating Canada in the round robin kind of before.
Right. Yeah.
And that's the game we probably should have lost. They kind of outplayed us, and I thought actually in the gold medal game we kind of outplayed them, and maybe we're deserving a better fate. So it's just kind of funny how it works, and that's just hockey. So you take your lessons and move forward.
Everybody always says about hockey and sudden death, the game can end literally, a championship can be decided literally in the blink of an eye. You won a silver medal for the United States. That's sensational. But in that blink of an eye, when Canada beat you, do you remember, like, what's it like from a player's perspective, Ryan? Is there just a massive sinking feeling for a second or two or longer, or is it just you've trained yourself mentally to know that something can end at any point?
Yeah, I mean, at any level, when you're in those championship games, it comes down to a face-off, a line change even. It comes down to the little details and all those good habits hopefully you have throughout the year. I mean, that's the difference of winning or losing. A puck might just bounce over a D stick or something. So, you kind of try to earn your bounces. And that's just the way it goes,
You end up playing a handful more years in the NHL. What was it like at the end of your career? What did you remember the most? What were some of your favorite stories later on after you leave Pittsburgh, after the Olympics experience and everything?
Yeah, there's just a great group in Tampa going down there, and that's where Stammer kind of came in as an 18-year-old as well, similar to Sid. So I kind of, got to help him out a little bit there. We had, Marty St. Louis, Vinny, Teddy Purcell. We had a bunch of great guys around. I remember coming back from 3-1 to the Penguins in the playoff series in Tampa, which was great to be a part of. And, lost a lot of great friendships. And, it was an exciting place to play in Tampa, especially when you're winning. It's hockey paradise. You got the beach and the rink, and it's a great city, and they got a great owner down there now, and they're obviously doing great things in Tampa.
Father and son both getting to the NHL, having long careers. Do you and your dad talk about hockey a lot? Your careers? What's that like all these years later now?
We don't really talk about it too much. I think it's was what it was. So. I think there's a cool moment in Pittsburgh there. My dad, when he played 78, 79, I think he won like the Players Player Award. And then in 07, 08, I ended up winning the same Players Player Award. So I thought that was pretty cool and special. And then my dad and I hold the record with the Halls for the only father-sons to record hat tricks for the same franchise. So I thought that was, pretty cool looking back on some things, that we're a part of in kind of the history books. But all in all, it was more about my dad always taught my brother I was more about the values and how you treat people. If it's the janitor walking into the rink or the guy that owns the rink, you treat everyone the same. And ultimately, you need to have that good character and be a better person is what life's all about.
I love that, treating everybody the same. What are you up to these days, Ryan? And I know I want to talk about the Warrior Cup Challenge that you have coming up on September 24th, which is an awesome thing. But tell the folks what you're doing now, and then we can talk a little bit about the Warrior Cup Challenge.
Yeah, so I came back last year to kind of help out the Pittsburgh College Hockey Foundation with the RMU program that unfortunately was cut off from the school. So we ended up bringing back the RMU programs next year. And to myself, it really opened my eyes again how powerful and great the hockey community is. And that was just an amazing, I think, accomplishment to get those programs back and give local kids that dream of maybe playing close to home. And it still shocks me that there's only one Division I program in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, right. And they tried to get rid. And they tried to get rid of that.
I know. That's why I was literally kind of in shock about that, especially living in Minnesota a few years, where everywhere, wherever you go, you have Division I programs. It feels like just every 2 blocks. So that kind of opened my eyes to some great things I think our family can do. So we started the Malone Family Foundation. We're kicking off this big event, and we're going to help support the Pittsburgh Warriors. They're saying hockey is healing, and we're going to help support their veteran hockey league and help our veterans, with some of their mental and physical fitness to kind of cut down on the 22 service members that commit suicide a day. So that's a big push for us, and we want to give back to the community for what it has given us, and those values we learned in hockey, and the joy and respect and all those values we want to pass on to the kids, and we definitely want to use our little platform to help out as many people as we can moving forward.
And the Warrior Cup Challenge is September 24th. Exactly what all will that entail?
That is going to entail, at the moment, we're probably going to have maybe 4 Pittsburgh Warrior teams with a few celebrities. I think we have the Pittsburgh Fire, Pittsburgh Police, and then 2 other teams. Just kind of a little deck hockey tournament for the day, just all raising awareness for the Veteran Hockey League there, so we can kind of support those guys this year and get them what they need. So ultimately, it's just going to be a great day for hockey, and it's going on during Collier Fest that Saturday. So there is live music. There will be a bunch of food and beer for everyone. I believe there's some other carnival games there even for the kids. So it should be a great day for everyone, and we're looking forward to the opportunity to spread the love.
That is such a great story. We'll end on this, of being able to give back to community. Your dad plays professional hockey. You grow up in Pittsburgh. You're the first local Pittsburgh guy to ever play for the Penguins. Now you come back and you try to give back to the hockey community now with Robert Morse. Just how important is it to you to do that at this stage in your life?
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, I think it's crazy when you look back. Maybe it's right around those 40-year-olds, you start looking back at the choices you made and realize I could have made some better choices here and there, and how young you are, and just kind of focus on your goal of, success or reaching your dreams. And then, like I said, I was very blessed to be able to do that. And now I think, you're still missing something. And then when you start giving back and seeing the effect it has on people, to me, that has just blown me away and just has really filled my heart. So that is definitely, top priority now is giving back to others and helping them in this time of need. It's a crazy world right now. So I think if we're shining the light on some positive, some maybe good habits you can change, anything that can help people out in a positive way is what it's all about. So I think, we're very lucky and fortunate to grow up there in Pittsburgh and kind of see the whole change of the hockey community. So we're very excited to come give back and help it grow. And, hopefully we have maybe even some more Division I teams down the road here.
All right. That's fantastic, man. Just tremendous stories. Really cool with the upbringing and everything. I can't thank you enough for taking the time to share all this with us, Ryan. Really, really appreciate it, man.
Oh, no, thanks for having me. And, it was a crazy time. I always tell my kids, you just got to dream big, and you never know what might happen. So, thanks for having me, and I appreciate your time.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Ryan.
All right. Thank you.